Hey, I ain't gonna lie. These rap niggas gonna be scared as fuck to see me in person. Either I'ma kill your ass or I'm taking shit. Yeah, I don't give a 13. I don't give a 30. Yeah, you the ops, your ass gonna die or your ass getting robbed. I put it on my mama, nigga.
On August 28, 2025, police in Hallandale Beach responded to a shot-spotter alert on Northwest 6th Avenue. At the scene, they found 25-year-old rapper Brandon Wamley, known as Wham Spin the Bin, suffering from gunshot wounds. He was transported to a hospital where he was pronounced dead.
Crime alert today as police now searching for the shooter who gunned down a man in Hallandale Beach, and we've learned that victim was a local rapper. Local 10's Rochelo has the latest now from that scene.
We saw Hallandale Beach police out here throughout the day investigating, trying to solve this case where a young man, 25 years old, had his life taken. According to witnesses, he was a rapper. We did look into his history. He has been arrested in the past. But police say this is very much an ongoing investigation.
Investigators stated the shooting was not random. Early findings indicated Wamley and the suspect knew each other and that a confrontation escalated into violence. Police classified the incident as isolated, with no immediate threat to the public. Detectives canvassed the area, interviewed residents, and reviewed surveillance footage. Witnesses reported hearing multiple gunshots before officers arrived. As of now, no arrest has been announced, and the suspect has not been publicly identified. Questions remain over who pulled the trigger, the motive behind confrontation, and whether Wamley's past connections or disputes played a role in the fatal encounter that ended his life. Stay with us as we unravel this shocking story and uncover the heartbreaking details of what led to this senseless loss. Before we begin, let us know in the comments, where are you watching from? And what are your thoughts as the story unfolds? Welcome to True Crime Tales, where we reveal the crimes that shock communities and the secrets hidden behind closed doors. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Now, let's begin.
Talk about why it was important for you to sober up and get a clear state of mind.
Shit, I ain't gonna lie. That's another thing I say, like, stay away from that drug and shit. Like, I ain't gonna lie. I know I'm smoking weed right now, but like, all that other shit, bro, that shit ain't what it is, bro. You feel me? Like, I ain't gonna lie. Like, if you going through pain, like a depression or that mental health shit, I know all that shit real. If you going through that, I don't know how you cope with it, but like, my word of advice, don't use drugs. Like I ain't gonna lie, just talk to God, though. Like, you feel me? That way gonna help you, for real.
Nah, that's real.
Brandon Wamley was born in January 2000 in Florida. His early years reflected a focus on athletics, particularly football, which he pursued as a child. Football was his initial outlet for discipline and recognition. However, the influence of his environment and peers gradually drew him toward music. His family connections and the community around him played a direct role in shaping his shift from sports into rap culture. Wamley's transition into music was heavily influenced by Florida's rap scene. He was introduced to music through his cousin Wiz the Wizard, who had ties with Kodak Black, a prominent figure in the industry. Kodak's career and image served as a direct inspiration for Wamley, motivating him to begin recording his own material. Early songs circulated locally and gained traction within Florida rap circles, where Wamley began establishing a reputation. His raw style, local affiliations, and the credibility of his connections gave him a foothold in a competitive industry. Wamley signed with Kodak Black's Sniper Gang label, which provided him with visibility and association with an already established artist. Under Sniper Gang, he released songs that contributed to his growing recognition, including Spin a Benz PT1, Righteous Reapers, and Get 'Em. In July 2021, he released his debut album, Life Before Fame, a project that served as his formal introduction to a wider audience. This was followed by Before I Self-Destruct in 2022, which showcased his continued growth. In 2023, he released Teardrops and Closed Caskets, adding to his discography and further cementing his presence in the rap community. One of his collaborations, 444, was highlighted by Pitchfork in September 2022 as a must-hear track, praising his delivery and lyrical approach. This recognition placed him momentarily in the national conversation as an artist with potential. By 2023, Wamley parted ways with Sniper Gang, marking a turning point in his career. Despite this departure, he continued collaborating with Kodak Black and Wiz the Wizard, maintaining strong ties to the same circle that first helped launch his career. His independence from the label did not signal withdrawal from the industry. Instead, it opened space for him to redefine his direction while leveraging his existing relationships. Wamley's rise in music was accompanied by a number of legal issues. In Broward County, he faced charges that included cannabis possession, stalking, and issuing a written threat to kill. These incidents contributed to a public image shaped not only by his music, but also by ongoing controversies. Such legal challenges kept him in headlines for reasons beyond his artistry, complicating his reputation within both the community and the industry. On the night of Thursday, August 28, 2025, a series of gunshots were detected in the 500 block of Northwest 6th Avenue in Hallandale Beach, Florida. At approximately that time, a shot spotter alert was triggered, notifying authorities of gunfire in the area. Hallandale Beach police officers responded immediately to the alert. Upon arrival, they found Brandon Wamley suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. The shooting occurred in a residential neighborhood. Witnesses reported hearing multiple rounds of gunfire, describing the noise as a series of loud pops. Some residents reported hearing what sounded like an argument escalating before the shots were fired. Accounts from the scene describe residents taking cover inside their homes. One individual reported hiding in a bathroom after realizing the shots were in close proximity. The neighborhood was marked by sudden panic as the sound of rapid gunfire spread through the block. When officers reached the location, they discovered Wamley critically injured from multiple gunshot wounds. Emergency medical responders transported him to a nearby hospital. Despite medical intervention, Wamley was pronounced dead after attempts to save his life failed.
Crime alert today as police now searching for the shooter who gunned down a man in Hallandale Beach. And we've learned that victim was a local rapper. Local 10's Rochelo has the latest now from that scene.
We saw Hallandale Beach police out here throughout the day investigating, trying to solve this case where a young man, 25 years old, had his life taken. According to witnesses, he was a rapper. We did look into his history. He has been arrested in the past. But police say this is very much an ongoing investigation. Hallandale Beach police still on the scene Friday morning, searching for clues, going door to door, trying to solve a murder. Bullets flying Thursday night, and this guy says bullets hit his house. So last night, anoche, you hear, right? Bullet holes. You live here. Boom, boom, boom. See? He says, I took off and I hid in the bathroom because I heard way too many shots fired. It all happened on the 500 block of Northwest 6th Avenue. 25-year-old Brandon Wamley was transported to a nearby hospital. He passed away. A lot of bullets, mucho.
Mucho balazo, se escuchó mucho rafagazo.
Witnesses say the victim is a rapper known as Wham Spin the Bin. We also checked, and it appears he does have a criminal history in Broward County with charges of cannabis possession, stalking, writing a threat to kill. Hallandale Beach police say this was an isolated incident and that the victim and suspect were acquainted, but they also say the case remains very active and the investigation continues. In the meantime, neighbors reacting to what they saw Thursday evening.
You could say that it is scary because you see police in the middle of the night. You was wondering what's going on, and you make you wonder what's going on in the neighborhood.
So as police continue their investigation, they want to stress they believe this was an isolated incident, that the victim actually knew the shooter in this case. If you have any information, pick up the phone and call Crime Stoppers. That number is 954-493-TIPS. In Hallandale Beach, I'm Rochelo, Local 10 News.
Authorities secured the crime scene shortly after arrival, restricting access and preserving evidence. Investigators canvassed the neighborhood, moving door to door to collect accounts from residents and potential witnesses. A public appeal was issued, urging anyone with information to come forward. The police emphasized the importance of community cooperation in identifying the suspect and piecing together the sequence of events. Initial findings suggested that the shooting was not random. Investigators determined that Wamley and the suspected shooter knew each other. The confrontation was believed to have escalated into violence, resulting in the fatal shooting. The Hallandale Beach Police Department described the incident as isolated, stating that there was no evidence of a broader threat to the public. This classification focused attention on the relationship between the victim and the suspect rather than suggesting wider community danger. Witnesses provided consistent accounts of the moments leading up to the shooting. Several reported hearing raised voices, suggesting an argument. This was immediately followed by a burst of gunfire. Residents recalled hearing multiple shots fired in rapid succession. The suddenness of the shooting caused fear among those living nearby, leading many to seek shelter inside their homes. Calls to authorities described both the argument and the subsequent gunfire. The investigation into the fatal shooting of Brandon Wamley, known in the rap world as Wham Spin the Bin, moved into its most critical stage immediately after his death was confirmed. Law enforcement agencies in Hallandale Beach began an active pursuit of the individual responsible, with the case classified as a targeted and isolated incident. From the start, the Hallandale Beach Police Department made clear that identifying and locating the shooter was a priority. Officers worked through the night of the shooting and into the following days, securing the scene and collecting evidence. Detectives initiated canvassing in the 500 block of Northwest 6th Avenue, moving door to door and questioning residents who may have seen or heard anything connected to the gunfire. Witnesses reported hearing multiple rounds discharged and in some cases described voices arguing shortly before shots rang out. Surveillance cameras across the neighborhood were also reviewed. Investigators pulled footage from private residences, businesses, and city-owned monitoring systems in hopes of establishing a timeline and identifying suspects. Analysts examined vehicle movement in the area before and after the shooting, cross-referencing license plate data, and attempting to connect any vehicles to known associates of Wamley. In parallel, law enforcement requested the public's assistance. Crime Stoppers established a hotline where callers could provide information anonymously, with the potential for reward if the tips led to an arrest. Officials stressed that even the smallest details, unfamiliar cars, unknown individuals in the area, or overheard conversations, could prove significant in reconstructing events. Despite initial progress, several key questions continued to dominate the case. Who was the shooter? Investigators stated that Wamley and the suspect were known to one another. However, no name was released publicly. This suggested that the investigation was ongoing and that authorities were working to establish probable cause before moving forward with charges. What was the motive? Early accounts hinted that the shooting may have been the result of a confrontation that escalated beyond control. Still, detectives worked to determine whether the violence stemmed from a personal dispute, retaliation linked to past incidents, or a deeper, more organized conflict. Were there ties to the music industry? Given Wamley's rising status as a Florida rapper, investigators considered whether rivalries within the music world could have played a role. Conflicts between artists have, in some cases, escalated beyond music and into real-world violence. This angle, while unconfirmed, remained under review. The murder of Brandon Wamley joined a troubling pattern of rappers across Florida and the United States who have been targeted by gun violence. In the past decade, numerous artists, both mainstream and underground, have lost their lives in shootings. Analysts often cite several contributing factors: the public nature of rap careers, affiliations with street environments, and disputes amplified by fame and visibility. Florida, in particular, has seen repeated cases where rising artists met violent ends before their careers reached full maturity. Wamley's trajectory reflected this pattern: early recognition, growing notoriety, and an abrupt violent halt. Law enforcement in multiple jurisdictions has previously noted that disputes involving rappers often spill into neighborhoods, creating risks for both the artists and the communities they live in. A key component of the response on the night of the shooting was the ShotSpotter system, a network of sensors designed to detect gunfire and alert police to location in real time. In Wamley's case, it was this system that first notified officers of shots fired on Northwest 6th Avenue. The system's role in crime prevention and response has been debated nationwide. Supporters argue that it enables faster police reaction times, helping officers arrive on scene quickly to assist victims or secure suspects. Critics counter that the technology is costly, may misidentify noises as gunfire, and in some cases leads to heightened police presence in certain neighborhoods without addressing underlying causes of violence. In this case, however, the alert was accurate. Without it, police may not have arrived as swiftly, and the timeline of medical treatment and evidence preservation could have been delayed. The shooting left a visible impact on the Hallandale Beach community. Residents who heard the gunfire described their immediate reactions. Some hid in bathrooms, others shielded their children, while many called 911 in fear. Even though police later classified the shooting as isolated, the effect on neighborhood safety perception was immediate. Long-term trauma for witnesses and nearby residents was also a consideration. Gun violence incidents often leave lasting effects, including fear of recurrence, reluctance to cooperate with police, and community-wide unease. For Hallandale Beach, the murder of a public figure in a residential block drew both local and national attention, magnifying the incident's reach. To the public, Brandon Wamley was known as Wham Spin the Bin, a rising rapper whose music gained traction in Florida and beyond. He had secured recognition from major outlets, including a 2022 feature in Pitchfork, which praised his track 444 for its delivery and impact. His albums Life Before Fame, Before I Self-Destruct, and Teardrops and Closed Caskets showcased his consistency in producing music that resonated with fans. By the time of his death, Wamley had built a significant online following, with music videos accumulating views, and his presence growing on streaming platforms. His collaborations with established names like Kodak Black and Wiz the Wizard connected him to a wider rap network. For supporters, he represented the next wave of Florida rap talent. Behind the public recognition, Wamley faced personal and legal challenges. Records in Broward County showed charges that included cannabis possession, stalking, and issuing a written threat to kill. These incidents added complexity to his image, presenting a duality between his rising fame and personal setbacks. Investigators reviewing his life considered whether these past legal troubles contributed in any way to the conflicts leading up to his death. While no definitive connection was established, the possibility remained part of the broader examination into his lifestyle and choices. The tension between public success and private struggle highlighted the challenge many artists face when navigating fame while remaining tied to environments that expose them to risk. For Wamley, his music often reflected experiences rooted in struggle and resilience. Yet, his reality also placed him in situations where disputes could escalate quickly. This dual identity, rising rap star and individual with ongoing personal conflicts, formed the central narrative of his life and death. His success in music was undeniable, but his vulnerability to violence was equally apparent. In the days following the fatal shooting of Brandon Wamley, Hallandale Beach Police Department provided limited but critical updates to the public. Officials confirmed that the shooting occurred on the night of Thursday, August 28, 2025, after a ShotSpotter device detected gunfire in the 500 block of Northwest 6th Avenue. Responding officers located Wamley with multiple gunshot wounds. He was transported to a local hospital, where he later died. Authorities publicly identified Wamley as the victim the following day and emphasized that the case was being treated as an active homicide investigation. The department noted that initial findings indicated the suspect was someone known to Wamley, suggesting the confrontation was personal in nature rather than random. Police characterized the incident as isolated and assured the community there was no broader threat to public safety. However, officials declined to release a description of the suspect or confirm whether any person of interest had been detained. Investigators confirmed that the shooting stemmed from a confrontation that escalated into violence. The nature of the confrontation was not specified, and no details were given regarding whether the dispute was connected to Wamley's music career, his personal life, or prior legal issues. Detectives canvassed the neighborhood, interviewed potential witnesses, and reviewed surveillance footage from nearby cameras. The suspect remained at large in the days following the incident. Police appealed to the public for assistance, urging anyone with information to contact the Hallandale Beach Police Department directly or provide anonymous tips through Broward County Crime Stoppers. Authorities did not disclose whether they had recovered the weapon used in the shooting. The lack of a publicized arrest or named suspect left the investigation in a developing state. Law enforcement officials acknowledged the urgency of solving the case, given Wamley's rising public profile as a rapper, but maintained that investigative integrity required limiting the release of information. This silence fueled speculation about whether the suspect was part of Wamley's close circle, unknown rival, or someone connected to prior disputes. News of Wamley's death spread rapidly across social media platforms within hours of police confirmation. Fans who had followed his career since his early mixtapes and viral singles expressed shock and disbelief at his sudden death. His online music videos, streaming catalog, and previously released tracks began trending, with thousands of listeners revisiting his work and leaving comments that acknowledged his impact on the Florida rap scene. Platforms such as Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok saw a surge in activity around hashtags linked to Wham Spin the Bin. Fans shared clips of his performances, highlighted lyrics from his most notable songs, and revisited interviews where he spoke about his ambitions in music. Many called his death a reminder of the dangers facing young rappers navigating fame and street culture. Within the Florida rap community, tributes emerged from fellow artist collaborators and industry figures. Several rappers from South Florida, including those affiliated with Sniper Gang and others who had worked alongside Wamley, acknowledged his contributions. Kodak Black, who had once signed Wamley to Sniper Gang, did not release an immediate formal statement, but was referenced in online discussions about the rapper's legacy. Local producers and DJs who had worked on his projects emphasized his lyrical style, raw storytelling, and the promise of future growth in his career. Independent artists across Florida credited him with influencing their work and opening opportunities for collaboration. Media outlets covering rap culture highlighted his trajectory from underground releases to national recognition through Pitchfork's coverage of his song 444. Wamley's killing also reignited ongoing conversations about safety in the rap industry. Commentators, journalists, and community activists pointed out that his death was part of a troubling pattern in which young rappers across the United States face heightened risks of violence. These discussions included references to earlier cases of gun violence affecting Florida artists, as well as national examples where disputes escalated into fatal outcomes. Analysts raised questions about whether systemic issues in the industry, including affiliations with gangs, rivalries, and the blending of music with street reputations, placed rising artists in dangerous situations. The conversation also extended to whether police departments and city officials were prepared to address the unique risks associated with local rap communities. Brandon Wamley's career was viewed as being on the verge of a significant breakthrough. His discography already included multiple albums, and his collaborations positioned him alongside established names in Florida hip-hop. His recognition by national outlets, such as Pitchfork, suggested that he was beginning to cross over from local recognition to national prominence. The unfinished trajectory of his career became central to the discussion about his legacy. Listeners revisit his earlier albums, such as Life Before Fame and Before I Self-Destruct, to interpret how his work reflected both his struggles and ambitions. His 2023 album Teardrops and Closed Caskets received renewed attention after his death, with listeners pointing to themes of loss and survival. In Florida's local rap scene, Wamley was acknowledged for inspiring younger artists who sought to follow in his path. His ability to combine gritty lyricism with mainstream appeal served as a blueprint for upcoming rappers navigating between underground recognition and broader industry interest. Several emerging artists cited him as proof that musicians from Hallandale Beach and surrounding areas could build a fan base without relocating to larger markets. His death created both a void and a rallying point. For some, it emphasized the fragility of success in the rap world. For others, it reinforced the need to continue producing music in his honor. Despite police statements and ongoing investigation, several mysteries remain unresolved. Who pulled the trigger? Police confirmed the suspect was known to Wamley, but withheld identity details. Whether the individual was a close associate or rival, or someone from his personal disputes remained unclear. What exactly triggered the confrontation? Investigators reported that the shooting stemmed from an escalation, but provided no clarity on what started it. Questions persisted about whether it was a personal argument, a music-related dispute, or a continuation of past conflicts. Were there warning signs in prior disputes or lyrics? Wamley's lyrics often reference violence, survival, and confrontations, which some listeners revisited for potential connections. No official statement confirmed whether his music foreshadowed the fatal incident. Did his past legal issues connect to his death? Wamley's prior arrest for cannabis possession, stalking, and threats raised speculation about whether unresolved disputes carried into the fatal night. Investigators did not confirm any link between his legal history and the shooting. The killing of Brandon Wamley remains under investigation. With no suspect publicly identified or charged, the case is unresolved and the circumstances leading to his death are still not fully understood. His life reflected both promise and turmoil. On one side was a rising artist with multiple projects, growing recognition and connections to established figures in the rap world. On the other was a young man navigating personal conflicts, legal challenges, and disputes that may have placed him at risk. The story raises broader questions about fame, violence, and the cycles of conflict that surround emerging rappers. It highlights the dangers that artists face when their public careers intersect with private disputes. It also underscores the ongoing difficulty law enforcement faces in solving crimes where personal relationships, community silence, and complex industry dynamics overlap. Until the shooter is found, the case remains open. The darkness surrounding Wamley's death continues to obscure the full truth, leaving investigators, fans, and the community waiting for answers that may take time to emerge. If you found this story as gripping and heartbreaking as we did, don't forget to like this video and share it with others. And if you want to hear more true crime stories that uncover the mysteries behind these tragic events, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell. You won't want to miss our latest stories, updates, and discussions. Thank you for joining us on this journey to seek justice and explore the truth. Together, we can make a difference. Until next time, stay safe and stay aware.